All right, welcome. Today we're really excited to have a special guest on the channel. We've got Mr. Jerry Portnoy. Welcome, Jerry.
Thank you. It's great to be here with you guys. Some of my favorite musicians.
Thank you. We're delighted to take this opportunity and announce that Jerry has just released a book called Dancing with Muddy, which really goes into detail about his story, falling in love, getting exposed to blues, falling in love with blues, following a career as a blues harmonica player, playing with some of the absolute coolest frontmen that were out there featuring the harmonica, talking about the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. Jerry,
well, that's true. Thank you very much. The full title of the book is Dancing with Muddy, Muddy Waters, Eric Clapton, and My Lucky Life in and Out of the Blues. Because I had a fairly interesting life prior to my musical career. It started out in a section of Chicago called Maxwell Street, which was actually the crucible of Chicago blues. That's where Chicago blues began, with the musicians from the Mississippi Delta coming up to Chicago during the war, and they would play in an area of Chicago called the Maxwell Street Market, and my father had a store down there, and they would play on the street right outside of his store. So I heard the blues as a child growing up, and little Walter actually played right down the street on Maxwell Street, right down about half a block from my father's store. So I was exposed to it early. My father was forced out of Maxwell Street when the city built an expressway right through his section of Maxwell Street. So I went 20 years without hearing the blues, and when I heard it again 20 years later, it just, I don't know what it triggered, but I just went crazy for it, and just decided that I had to learn how to do that, and I was laser focused on that from that moment. The book itself, so a lot of the early part of the book that covers my life before my musical career, it starts out on Maxwell Street, but then goes through other aspects of my life. I was a little bit of a pool shark early on. I had some adventures, some interesting adventures in pool halls around the country with some of the greatest pool hustlers in the country. Like I knew Minnesota Fats and people like Cornbread Red and Daddy Warbucks and all these colorful characters. And then I was drafted, and I was a paratrooper in the 101st Airborne Division, and I had a little administrative war with the United States Army to protect me from going to Vietnam. And fortunately, I actually won that war, which is the reason I'm sitting here today. So the early part of my book, I think, is quite interesting. And then, of course, when I hear the blues again 20 years later, hearing an album by Rice Miller, the second Sonny Boy, while I was bumming around Europe in 1968, that's what changed my life. And I came back to Chicago and completely immersed myself in the blues scene. I was playing around town with people like Johnny Young and Johnny Littlejohn and Sam Lay. I was in the house band at the Checkerboard Lounge, Buddy Guy's place on 43rd Street. And then I was working at Cook County Jail, actually, when I got the call to join Muddy Waters Band. And then everything took off from that. I was with Muddy for 6 years, and then I had the legendary blues band, which was a bunch of Muddy's veterans, for another 6 years. And I had my own band for a while, and eventually Eric Clapton called me, and I played with him for about 5 years. And so I had quite quite a ride through life.
Yeah.
And I was really, the book is kind of a capstone to my career and to my life, and I'm very, very proud of it. It's had a tremendous critical reception. The reviews have been really over the top, and honest to God, the accolades I'm getting as a writer are as meaningful to me as any I ever got as a musician. Interestingly, in writing the book, I had no problem writing the first part of the book up until the point that I joined Muddy Waters Band. And I tell the story of how I got in his band, and once I did that, I was stuck. I really didn't know where to go with it. I didn't know what to say, but what happened, the thing that really unlocked the rest of it for me, was finding an itinerary on the internet for Muddy Waters' entire career, starting in 1954, and it ran up until he quit playing in 1981. And so what I did, I found that itinerary, and I just scrolled down to May 25th, 1974, which was the date that I played my first gig with them. And then I would go down and I'd say, oh, I remember that gig, that's where this happened. I remember that gig, that's where this happened. So not only did it give me a chronology, but it unlocked a lot of stories and anecdotes that would be interesting to the reader.
Right.
And of course, I tried, as a writer, I tried to, I didn't want it to make it just completely episodic. So, you try and create a narrative connecting all these things so that the narrative carries the reader along. And really one of the most gratifying things is that so many people have written in their reviews that they couldn't put it down, it was a page turner and so forth. Yeah. And the other thing is that when I wrote it, I wanted it to be a good read for the general reader. Right. Even if they weren't a blues fanatic or a harmonica player or anything like that. Right. If they were a reader and they picked it up, that I would hook them early and carry them along to the end. And, from the reception I've had, it seems like I was, successful in achieving that. And so the book has been just an extremely gratifying experience.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that's really cool. I guess it's the storytelling. There's good stories in it, and those stories make it interesting to someone who, even if they're not a musician or a harmonica player.
Exactly.
That journey.
It paints an interesting picture of old Chicago and the life of a musician and the ups and downs, because making your living as a performing musician it's not easy, and it's not a smooth path.
Right.
But I was too lazy to work, and I was too nervous to steal, so I had to become a musician.
Fantastic.
Jerry, where can someone get this book?
Well, it's available online at all the online booksellers, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million is another one. Okay. There are several other online places you can get it. Also, in local bookstores, they have limited shelf space, so they generally don't buy everything that comes down the pike. Some local bookstores may have it. Others, if you go to your local bookstore and request it, they'll order it, and they can usually get it in 2 days. So it'll be available all over the country.
Fantastic. Well, hey, thanks for stopping by. And once again, the book is called Dancing with Muddy by Jerry Portnoy.